Hello and welcome back. I'm Ryan, if you don't know. I'm just an American trying to learn about Germany. And this is one of my favorite YouTubers to do such a thing. Haley Alexis. She says, "How are German kids different than American kids?" That's interesting to me, especially considering I am a new parent. So how is my baby different than the German babies? Let's find out. I have a feeling at 2 weeks old he's not much different, but let's see.
Hi everyone, what is up? My name is Haley. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you did not know, now you do. Hey you guys,
Turning her up.
what's up? So in today's video, y'all, I'm going to be talking about how kids are different in Germany and how parenting is different in Germany. I feel like these are two different topics, but they sort of like mesh together. And yeah, these are just things that I have observed. I'm not a parent. I don't have kids, so I don't have like personal experience.
That's okay.
But I have personal observation.
All you need to do is go to a country and look around and see how they parent their kids. And I feel like that's good enough. You don't need to do it yourself.
Experience because I have worked in kindergartens. I've been around a lot of children and a lot of different families and a lot of different parents.
Oh, even
So
better.
with all that being said, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. The lady that I worked for, she said, "Hey Haley, I'm going to get coffee with my friend. Would you like to come with?" And her friend just had a baby and she showed up with her little stroller with her little baby sleeping in the stroller. And I was like, "Oh, how cute. No, that's so cute that you're bringing the baby to the cafe to get some coffee and kuchen." And the baby was knocked out, you guys. This baby was in La La Land. And the woman, she just leaves and goes in the cafe. And I'm just like, okay, did the lady that I work for literally bring me here to watch someone else's kid? Like, I was like, they really want me to stand out here in the cold, in the winter, next to the stroller while they go inside and drink coffee. I'm like, that's really rude. The lady knocked on the
What?
window and was like, "Come inside." And I was like,
What?
and she's looking at me like, what the hell am I pointing at? And I'm like doing the motion of picking up the baby and she's like, and I'm like, and she's like, "No." And then she comes out and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What are you doing leaving your baby on the street?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? Someone could grab this little baby. It's just laying here, strangers walking past. This is a bit."
This is absolutely baffling. This is I can't believe that even for a minute. That's so much different than here in the States. I couldn't have even imagined.
Busy roads.
I can't wait to hear
Someone
this.
get snatch your baby up, snatching, hide your kids, hide your wife, because they're snatching every baby out here in Germany. She's like looking at the lady that I worked for, like, "You brought this woman with you to this coffee shop and she's talking about my baby getting kidnapped?" It happened often. I will not say all the time and that everyone did it, but it wasn't uncommon to see a random stroller with a random baby.
I forgot to mention that the lady was sitting in front of the window and her baby was directly on the other side and she could see the baby. That is just what? Oh my God, you could never do that here in the States. First of all, you would literally be arrested. Whether that's right or wrong, that's not what I'm saying, but you would be arrested for leaving your baby unattended. Or I mean, maybe you, I don't. Yeah, that no, you can't do that. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm watching them through the window." No. What? Oh my gosh, you German people must have so much less crime. First of all, you're so much more trustworthy of each other, right? Apparently. Here in America, I would just be so worried about like who's gonna come up and touch my baby, take my baby, leaving them in the stroller. Wow, that is fascinating. That really just says a lot about the culture that you guys trust each other that much.
In it on the side of like the sidewalk or the road somewhere, or in front of a store. And the reasoning behind this, she told me, I mean, this was her reason. I don't know if this is the real reason why people do it, but she said that it took her so long to wrap the baby in all of its like winter clothes. And so when the baby slept, it got fresh air, it was cool to him, like the temperature outside was cool, but his body temperature underneath everything is relatively warm and he sleeps the best this way. And so it's better to just leave him there than take him out, wake him up most likely, take off all
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's fascinating. So she's really doing it because the baby is comfortable out there in the cold because it's all wrapped up. I mean, still, that's really interesting, but still here in the States, absolutely you could not do that. You just could not do
all of
that.
his clothes and then have to re-put them on, redress him when they leave the cafe.
It does make sense. I was trying to figure out why this might be and started looking up numbers for kidnapping in the USA versus Germany. Yeah, there we go. And the rate for kidnapping is higher in the USA compared to, okay. Germany's kidnapping rate isn't non existent. So I still have questions, but I think this might be one of the biggest reasons. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's crazy people. First of all, if you did that, you wouldn't even need someone to kidnap them. If you did that, you would have about 100 different people coming up, calling the police, saying there's a baby out here and we don't know where its mom is. Of course, I guess you'd see them through the window, but you would have people screaming at you.
And so I thought that was very interesting. This is something that happens all over Europe. I know that a lot of people
All over
or some
Europe,
people
wow.
do this in the United States in their like the privacy of their home. It doesn't
Yeah, in your home.
necessarily happen in Florida because if you leave your baby outside in Florida, it will die. The next point is going to be something that is a hit and a miss. I know that some people, like Germans, are going to disagree with me, but I've seen this a handful of times here, and it is that people will bring their children to bars. And I think it's because the
Oh,
bar
okay.
culture in Germany is different, and also the alcohol culture is different here as well. And so when I compare it
It's probably not as like wild and sketchy and drugs everywhere and
to the United States. Where I used to work, I've worked in I think like 3 or 4 different restaurants, and all of those, I think 3 out of 4 of them, had bars, meaning you could sit at the bar and drink alcohol, or you could sit in the bar area, which wasn't directly like chairs around a bar, but there were maybe tables or booths surrounding the bar. And some restaurants that I worked at wouldn't even let people with kids sit there. There are
oh wow.
some restaurants that I have been to in the United States that allow children to sit there, but the ones that I worked at wasn't.
That might be like a state by state thing. I guess it depends what you're calling a kid, but and there's also a state by state legality thing. You're not allowed to be in the bar area if you're under 21 in a lot of states. But if it's like a separate area, yeah, you can
Allowed
go.
unless they were 18 or older. But if you came with your baby and you like wanted to sit at the bar or near the bar, we usually, our hostesses would have to say, sorry, we're not allowed to seat you there. And so when I came to Germany and I just saw kids, openly around alcohol in public at restaurants, at bars,
I'm not talking about bars that are solely for drinking, but bars and restaurants. Oh, okay. So just bars and restaurants? That is interesting to think of kids, running around or being around the bar, just at the bar in general, where
I was shocked, a
that's definitely different.
little judgmental because I'm like, what are y'all doing with your kids? Like around alcohol and bringing them to the bar like this. It's totally chill in Germany and relax when it comes to kids and alcohol.
Alcohol is just, I think it's just not as big a deal in Europe. You guys aren't like, oh my God, alcohol.
Also because the drinking age is 16 here, depending on what you're drinking. And in
16.
the United States, it's 21. And I always find this to be so crazy when I see little children, literally 16-year-olds drinking beer. And
That is
I'm
hilarious.
like, are y'all allowed to do that? And then in the United States, I get carded if I want to buy one little beer can at the grocery store or something, or at the gas station. And I also think that in Germany, they like to expose children at an early age to like the real world. Like everyone, not everyone, but a big majority of people are drinking.
There's a lot of information. Let's see what she's trying to say. Also, German parents have less worries about getting in trouble every time they make a mistake. With their children, they have more responsibility and so in their child's life. There's historical reasoning for this. Yes. Child Protective Services is a huge fear for a lot of parents. Absolutely. For the year 2019, it was the only year, Germany had 50,000 children taken into care while the USA had 250,000, even with a population percentage adjustment. Germany still has tens of thousands of kids less than the USA. That's actually fascinating. Okay, so there's a fear because that's part of what I was thinking too with leaving your kid outside the cafe in the window. Yeah, you'd probably have them. You could easily have that would be a strike against you. You know, they probably wouldn't take him away from you for that, but I feel like that would be a big strike. Do that twice, and they probably
They
would.
may not be alcoholics, but they are consuming alcohol. And you're going to come into contact with this regardless if you do drink alcohol or don't drink alcohol. And I never understand now, since living in Germany, the big hush hush regarding alcohol in the United States. It's a little weird in my opinion because I've talked about this before. You can buy guns at 18, you can go fight in the military, you know, give up your
Yep.
life. But as soon as you want to buy one little beer and you're 20 years old, go to jail. The next point is going to be eating vegetables, you know, free will.
That's absolutely true. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you can go die for your country, but you can't drink a beer. Give them a beer if they're going to go fight in a war, you know. I feel like they need a beer afterwards.
Next point is going to be eating vegetables, you know, free will, like not being forced, y'all. One thing that shocked me, which is a little like going off of this point, when I came to Germany and I started eating food, like not eating foods, when I started going to restaurants and stuff and like just
I came to Germany, and it was the first time I ever tried this thing called food. This is a common dish in Germany. Boiled potatoes with white asparagus. Oh my gosh. That looks terrifying. Literally vegetables in their most raw state. Oh, yeah. I don't think you could. Yeah. That would be bizarre. It's very, like, plain, I guess, from an American standpoint. Just plain vegetables.
trying out different types of restaurants
I wonder what that sauce is, though.
and getting vegetables that were uncommon, let's say. Because you go to the United States, you eat at a restaurant, you're gonna have
I didn't know there was white asparagus, so that's pretty uncommon.
like a vegetable medley of broccoli, squash, carrots, throw in a zucchini, you know, asparagus is big, cauliflower is big, very basic vegetables, you know, throwing a corn on the cob there as well. And some areas, you know, you have more so than other, like in Florida,
Yummy.
we have okra, but we fry it. And I feel like all of our vegetables, we fry, we deep fry. We have deep fried green beans, we have deep fried cauliflower.
How else are you supposed to eat it? You're just supposed to eat a raw vegetable?
We have deep fried corn, we have deep fried everything. So that's not really healthy. I'm talking about a raw vegetable or fruit, literally eating that by itself. And so when I came to Germany, there was this little kid that I used to watch like randomly on the weekends. His mom would want to go out and she'd be like, could you come watch my son? I'd be like, fine, no big deal. So one day she called me, hey Haley, come over. And then she's like, you know what? I have everything in the fridge. You know, I have frozen pizza. I made like spaghetti the other day. I made all of this stuff. Just ask him what he wants to eat and then, you know, make something. I love
There's no way this kid said vegetables.
parents like this because I'm like, so you don't mind if I give your kid a frozen pizza, we eat ice cream, cookies, and chips, and you know, watch a movie, and that's okay with you? So I go to the little kid all excited. I'm like, hey, your mom told me that we have frozen pizza. And he's like looking at me and he's like, yeah, I think I want like a Butterbrot, a butter bread with radishes. And I looked and I was like, excuse me? Your mom said you have frozen pizza and cookies. He's like, no.
Wow. Well, it's no wonder the kids here are so much, not the kids, but the people, they grow up to be so much fatter in America. Oh my God, you could literally never, that would never happen. You could not find a kid here that would ask for vegetables, period. Barely even an adult.
Maybe some cucumbers too. And I'm like, sir.
I do love some cucumber slices, you know. I was joking about, you know, not eating any raw vegetables. I like some green peppers, some cucumbers, you know. Not much else.
We have everything available here. I can literally call McDonald's and have them delivered, call Burger King and they can deliver a Whopper and fried onion rings to our doorstep right now. This little boy would not budge, you guys. So what did I do? I went to the kitchen and I cut up some radishes and I put it on some Butterbrot. And so the next point is going to be outside activities, and I don't really know how to go over this properly, but in Germany, when you do an activity for, let's say, daycare or school, a lot of times it is outsourced to a different location. And I don't know the reason why. I'm assuming it's because of how small Germany is, so their schools aren't as massive and as huge as like
But Germany's not that small.
stuff in the United States, so they don't have the ability to offer everything in-house.
It's not as big as the U.S., but
I used to work at a kindergarten, a daycare that was only 3 rooms. That was it. And there were like a lot of kids, and everything that we did, we usually had to go outside somewhere else to do. We didn't have a pool.
that makes it more fun, I feel like. A little field trip.
We didn't have a
Heck yeah.
playground.
As a kid, those were the best days. Going on a field trip, leaving this joint. No, we're going elsewhere. I'm sick of this place.
We didn't have anything at the daycare except for like books and toys and a little mini kitchen to make stuff in. That was it. And I also worked at daycares in Germany that offered everything available to mankind. You know, 3-story, 4-story buildings. They have a whole bunch of kids. They have their own playground. But still, even then, you had to go somewhere else to do other things, or they would tell someone else to come. They would outsource it in the sense that they would hire someone to come and do, let's say, yoga, instruments. I don't know what else there is that people outsourced or got people to come in to do. And it's not random to see groups of children just.
I guess that helps. I don't know. It kind of feels like that's good for the economy. You know, having all these different people with different jobs, you know, outsourced, making a little bit of money off each other, you know, the money's flowing through the economy a little more. That seems kind of good. So.
Walking in the woods, walking on the side of the street, taking public transportation, just out and about in the real world, which is something that is not common in the United States at all, unless you're going on a field trip. But it's like not where you would say, every day we're going to go outside of our daycare, or every day we're taking.
That would be chaos. To have the little kids go outside. Okay, we're all taking the bus. Oh my God, there would be a lot of missing kids.
You know, trip 1 mile away or walking 1 mile down the street to go do something. That's just something that does not happen.
I don't think we ever did that. We're gonna walk a mile down the sidewalk? No.
In the United States. The last and final point, you guys, is going to be a big point, and this is going to.
That just shows how much more well-behaved they probably are. You know, German kids must be. So I want some of these parenting tips, okay? I want a well-behaved German-like little kid. That's what I want. Not an American brat that won't walk down the street.
Going to be something that, I do this to myself, you guys, when I talk about these topics. But in Germany, the kids learn about their history, an in-depth history, a gruesome history, a dark history, something that I've never experienced in the United States.
Yeah, in the U.S., we kind of just, we learn about it. And it would certainly depend on, you know, school by school basis, how much, even teacher by teacher basis, how much in depth they go into it. But we kind of skim over the bad stuff.
And so I remember when I first got here to Munich, I took a trip by myself to Dachau. I don't know why, you guys. I just wanted to go to a concentration camp because I was like, I'm in Germany. This is like what I've been taught in school. I'm literally a train ride away, less than an hour.
It does sound fascinating.
Hour away. Let me just go one day. And so I went by myself to Dachau. And to my surprise, I saw multiple groups, like school groups of kids aged, I would say maybe 14 to 16, 17, give or take. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, are we just gonna allow kids to walk through concentration camps like this? Like, is this normal? I don't know. This is not normal in the United States. We don't walk through plantation homes. In Florida, especially where I lived, we had plantation homes, we had plantations, we had sugarcane fields that were ran, operated by slaves. We never, ever took a trip there. Never once in my life did I even know until like, I think high school or college, did I find out that we had all of these places so close to where I went to school. And I think
Same. I've never been to anywhere like that. I don't even know if there are any. I don't think there. I don't know. I don't know if there's any plantation homes or anything like that near me. That's how little. That's how little the school system tried to incorporate that. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm trying to think. You know, there's slavery, and then the other thing would be like North American or Native Americans, not North Americans. You know, that whole history. we didn't take much field trips about them. I mean, we did take a field trip to like this Native American place, but it had nothing to do with how we colonized them or anything. It was just about, oh, look at this, arrowheads and bow and arrows and stuff. How fun. Okay.
This is an amazing thing that Germany does. I think that this should happen in the United States as well. I know in some places they do put more emphasis on our history and the dark parts of our history, but in modern day, the United States right now, we're trying to get rid, or how do you say, sugarcoat the things and make it seem like everything was rainbows and sunshine and everyone got along and there were no slaves. They were people that made a minimum wage, and we try to like cover things up instead of actually saying, yeah, we effed up, we did this, we did that, it wasn't good, we killed a bunch of people, we harmed a bunch of people, we created a lot of problems, by doing this, and here it is. But we don't do that. And so when I think back of my upbringing and my education, and I know that there are going to be a lot of Americans that say, well, that's just you and that's not representative of the United States and that's not my upbringing. Perfectly fine. Make your own video talking about your upbringing. But for me, I knew more, or I was like told more about Nazi Germany than the history of Florida.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we probably learned, I'd say we learned more about the Holocaust than about our own history about slavery and everything. That's a good point.
And like plantations and slavery and just everything that happened in my own state, in my own backyard, like literally a hop, skip, and a rock throw away. I learned more about something that was 5,000 plus miles away than learning something that was 5 miles away. Like I said, they did teach me about slavery, but if they would have made me go up, take my happy ass to a plantation home, or show me certain fields, or
I feel like that's a lot more noble to actually take them to totally bring it out in the open, teach the kids everything, or else, because you don't want history like that to repeat itself. So it's good to really bring it out in the open, talk
show
about
me
it.
all types of other things, a museum for all I know. If they would have done this for me at a young age, it would have made such a big impact on me, and it would make me care about these issues more, or it would have made me care more about these issues growing up. But yeah, you guys, that was it. That's the end of the video. That's how I think German kids are different, or German parenting is different.
That was super fun. I love this woman's channel. Go check out her channel, Haley Alexis. Fantastic German videos. Anyway, I think I'm going to be making a video on this channel every weekday. So subscribe for some more German reactions and content and stuff, every weekday, I'd say. Sounds good to me. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.